In October 2022, Tohono Community College was the site for an historic event, the first gathering of the O'odham and Posh communities to talk about early childhood education. Tohono Community College is located in the heart of the Tohono Nation in southern Arizona in the Sonoran Desert. The Tohono are the desert people. We will hear more about the other communities in a moment. We gather to discuss what childhood is, how we parent, our philosophies of learning, and what children should know to be O'odham or Posh. The symposium involved elders, early childhood education leaders, teachers and students, as well as early childhood advocates and language experts. The four communities of O'odham, sometimes known as cousin tribes, are the Tohono, the Gila River Indian Community, the Ak-Chin Indian Community, and the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community. The Gila River and Salt River communities include the Posh or the Maricopa.
Dr. Ophelia Zepeda, chair of the college's Board of Trustees and a Regents professor at the University of Arizona, welcomed everyone to the symposium.
Of course, I'm very happy to have the invitation from the organizers, Sherilyn, Anaya, and Elsa Peterson, to be here with you all today. Welcome all of you to our campus. On behalf of course, the president of the college, Dr. Robertson, who isn't able to be here, and also all of the faculty of the college, all of the students at the college, and all of our staff here at the college. We're very happy to host you.
Before the symposium, the organizers talked about its purpose.
So my name is Sherilyn Anaya, and I'm from the Gila River Indian Community and the Pueblo of Laguna. And I've been in the field of early childhood education for many years as a teacher, a program administrator, researcher, and a technical assistant specialist, but most importantly, as a mother. And so with that background and knowledge, I had this idea to have a symposium, just thinking what could be beneficial for our communities in order to talk and bring together our thoughts on what childhood is, what early childhood programs could look like, what can we dream about, what can we realize together, and what kind of space do we need in order to have some of these conversations.
My name is Elsa Peterson. I am the Ha-Mamṣcamdam Community Practice Coordinator. One of the things that we came up with was to have a symposium and to have the voices from all of the regions come together and tell us the purposes of why we need language immersion, and to learn from the people who already have programs that have had the language immersion preschool programs, and also to get ideas from everyone else and to see what the needs are in the community as well.
Dr. Ophelia Zepeda moderated a panel of elders.
How would you define an O'odham or a Posh childhood?
Antoinette and Lucy are a mother-daughter pair who are Posh. They are potters and educators. Lucy answers the question first.
My mom was a hard worker. She was busy all the time, so my grandma raised us. And we were just everybody looking out for each other.
We went after wood with my grandma, which showed a lot of strength for her and showed us a lot of strength. And for me, I was brought up around pottery, and I didn't know any other way of doing things as just pottery. I grew up doing pottery when I was 8 years old, and I quit and went to school. Then I started back up when I was in my 20s, and I haven't stopped yet. And I love doing potteries, and I love watching my grandma do potteries and my mom do potteries.
My name is Teresa Donahue. Our family members are the younger ones that my childhood days, I remember them as being fun, and our work was play. We were out in the cotton fields picking cotton. Families took part in the rows and picking cotton. And you got to hear them talk, you got to hear them share whatever was to be done, and I was just walking distance from our house. That was fun.
Anya Jilgate Patricia Enos King. I was born from two parents, but I wasn't raised by two parents. But I had a lot of people, relatives around me who were there for me when those two parents weren't. There came a point in time where it was my aunt and uncle who raised me. And to this day, I can look at that and feel that they did a tremendously well job at it.
A lot of community members know me by Lisa, and professionally is Elizabeth. My grandmother's the one that raised me because of my brothers and sisters. There's too many. And that's one thing I tell the students, always wake up in the morning and stand in the sun. And she will do that. She'll wake us up at 4 in the morning and we stand and wait for that sun to come. And when that sun comes, she starts singing and we pray to that sun. And she told us that that your energy for the day is going to help you with your fast. It's going to help you what you're going to be doing all day. So always remember that sun.
My name is Margie Horn. I come from the west side of the nation, in the Hikon district, a village called Lantana. And I'm just sharing that during my childhood days, I didn't speak no English. I didn't go to school until I was 6 years old. And it was very hard for me, and you could imagine what we're trying to teach our children to learn. It really falls on all of you and how you're gonna share your teachings within your classroom from your own experience. Because I feel as an elder that that's the best teacher and that's the best medicine for our young children.
The elders had so much wisdom to share. In the afternoon, the conference featured 2 presentations about language immersion in early childhood education.
My name is Trisha Mokino, and I'm from Coach Tikiwa and Okewenge, and I am the co-founder and education director, and I am also still in the classroom, in the elementary classroom as the Karish Speaking Montessori guide at Karish Children's Learning Center.
Trisha Mokino's keynote address was a reflection on the founding and development of Karish Children's Learning Center.
They say it's our responsibility as families to give language, but we can do that to our best ability. We can have children who are fluent, and then they go into these settings that center English, and then they lose it. What I love about Dr. Montessori is her deep respect for children, her deep respect for land, her deep respect for mothers, and the way in which she called adults out to de-center themselves. To de-center themselves and center children. And I thought more and more about how our people center children and how I grew up in a culture that centered children but didn't realize this till I became a mother myself. So Karish Children's Learning Center was inspired by my family and a love for my people. It's not glamorous. Working with children is hard. Working with our own people is hard. But we have to relearn how to do it. We have to relearn how to love ourselves and to love each other. And we have to have a reckoning with what is systemic racism. Because systemic racism lives, whether we want to hear it or not, in the dominant narrative of early childhood. It lives in our Head Starts, in pre-K systems. And so the goal should always be to raise our children to be whole, and who they are first and foremost is of us, of our tribal nations.
Now we will meet the next speaker, Dr. Nicole Russell.
I'm Dr. Nicole Russell. I'm the Vice President of Implementation Research at Teaching Strategies. I'm an early childhood educator by trade, by education. It's what I've done my entire adult career.
Dr. Russell's keynote address focused on making curriculum relevant to Indigenous communities.
It's leading up to why I think language is essential in early childhood. You know why we have this saying, Ika olaro, I'm going to put it this way. Ika olaro no keola. Ika olaro no kamake. In the language there is life, and in the language there is death. And everything in between happens in the context of language. It is the lifeblood of our culture. how do you get to be a grown-up who's that confident, who feels such reverence for the earth that you say, forget everything else, this is what I'm giving of myself to. And it reminds me that this begins in early childhood. It begins with young children who see themselves as activists. Right? People like to shy away from that word. Oh no, we use that word. Right? Activists. People who are actively disrupting the status quo. Do our children see themselves in that way? They should. When I think about early childhood, and I think about the environments in which we work in, I think about the systems that we do work in. When Sharon mentioned earlier, everybody here is familiar with teaching strategies. I kind of heard people, right, you are all familiar with that. It's such an ingrained part of the system. And here I am, a person who works for teaching strategies, telling you to buck the system and put culture first. When I think about the curriculum, I think about the studies approaches at the center of the curriculum. We have ball study, clothes study, grocery store. There's like 6 more, I forget how many. But I think in those studies, right, you don't have to do the questions that are there. You don't have to talk about the clothes that are there. Right, you can ask other questions. What clothes do we wear? What do we call clothes? What do we do and what are we wearing to events that are important to us? Right, so starting to make that separation from what is right in front of you and saying, oh, I can do this differently. That's simply a structure.
After the 2 keynote speeches, the symposium continued with a panel of Tohono Community College alumni.
I'm hoping with this, with us moving into an immersion program, that we bring in more of our language speaking elders and just more language to kind of help our teachers and our staff move into being more comfortable in teaching it.
Another panel featured the Early Childhood Language Immersion Program in Guva'o District on the Tohono Nation.
And so once the kids arrive, it's really exciting because every day, even though, 4 days a week we see these kids, we greet them in our O'odham language that as if we hadn't seen them in a long time. And we always celebrate their beautiful smiles.
The symposium concluded with outcomes planning.
Like we said on the website, that this symposium was an opportunity to bring early childhood professionals from the 4 communities together, which happened from Asheevm, Gila River, and Salt River. And that hasn't been done before, specifically for early childhood. So there's some outcomes that we want to happen, and we're going to try hard to make sure that they do. And so part of the symposium was to showcase and just let people know that TOCC has an early childhood program. And we want and need more of our own people to be in those classrooms. And we also want to develop more communities of practice because TOCC is so lucky to have one here. But we also wanted to start a working group that focuses on advocacy and policy around tribal ECE issues in our communities and at the local, state, and federal levels. And we can totally do that. There's a lot of expertise in this room and a lot of people interested. And then also there's a possibility of designing a TOCC campus preschool here. And just in even talking about what that would look like, what the possibilities are, is something that everybody can be engaged in. And then to organize another symposium like this for 2024. So we wanted to keep this going every other year so that the year in between we can focus on developing projects and growing people and start featuring people in the next symposium. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for driving all as far as you guys, all my Gila River teachers with their red eyes. Ready to go, Salt River over there laying on the table. Ready to go. But I just really appreciate every one of you, all of the panelists, all of the speakers that came and helped us and supported us.
I'm Mercedes Plendel. I work for the Better Way Foundation, and this opportunity to bring the 4 different communities together to talk about what the future of Indigenous early childhood education was just a great opportunity for us to learn, as well as to connect to new partners and provide this opportunity that will hopefully lead to future grassroots Indigenous early childhood education programs.
The Asheevm and Posh Early Childhood Symposium was successful in many ways. 113 people heard about the symposium by invitation or word of mouth and registered. No advertising was needed. 78 people attended in person. A few months after the symposium, the Better Way Foundation's board met at Tohono Community College. Most important, Asheevm and Posh early childhood educators are working together more closely than ever.